I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Citrus County Planning and Development Commission public hearing for December 2nd, 2021. If you would like to join us at this time, I would invite you to stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, please give us the grace to be understanding, patient, and tolerant. With these attributes, we can conduct our work in a manner which will be pleasing to Thee, our county, and its residents. In the Lord's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
The following Planning and Development Commission members are present this morning. Michael Facemeyer, Chair. David Bramblett, First Vice Chair. Robert Bass, Second Vice Chair. Richard Barnes, James Royce, Kurt Stone, and Stacy Worthington.
Thank you. If any person decides to appeal any decision made by the Commission with respect to any matter considered at this hearing, he or she will need a record of the proceedings, and for such purpose, he or she may need to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceedings is made, which record would include testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. During the public input portion of the meeting, individuals will be given 3 minutes. Representatives of an organization will be given 5 minutes. When anyone wishing to speak comes to the podium, please complete a yellow form, hand it to the recording secretary. Please print your name, address, and the number of the application for which you are speaking. The yellow forms can be found at the podium by the door. If representing an organization, a letter of authorization must accompany the speaker. Comments will be limited to the topics being heard. Please state your name, spell your name, and give your address for the taped record. This time I will open the meeting to the public for any public comments that they may have. Any public comments? Seeing no one, I will close the public portion of this meeting. And I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from October 21st, 2021.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any corrections or additions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Staff announcements.
Yeah, we did have one application we sent all the butter notices to, but they have continued. CPA AA PUD 2116 Stillwell for Affordable Secure Storage Citrus Hills, and that will be heard in January. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Just want to make a comment that we had a really lively discussion or workshop with our county commissioners regarding waterfront setbacks and stormwater management. I would encourage y'all, if you didn't watch that meeting, to go back online and watch it. Those will be issues we'll be dealing with in the new year. And so just that's my comment on that.
Thank you. Do you know what the time frame is for that, Michael? And the process, I assume that would come back to the PDC for comments, or maybe not?
So it's I believe in January, the engineering folks will be talking to the county commission about the stormwater. Not sure if we're going to do the wetland or the setbacks at the same time, but it'll be in the new year. And whether y'all look at it or not, I don't know if that's been made clear yet.
Okay, I was just, it was a procedural question was all. Yeah.
Thank you.
We're here if they need us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, time has arrived for the first application.
Ex parte communication.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to skip over county council.
Thank you. With regard to CPA AAPUD-21-02, that's it. Have you had any ex parte communications you need to disclose, and we'll start at the end?
None. None.
None?
None.
None.
None? Thank you.
Now it's time for CPA AAPD 21-02.
Yes, good morning.
This application is requesting to change 2.62 acres from CL to CLC and to establish a PUD for a hotel with food service and cafe.
Thank you. Would the applicant please come forward?
She's still going. She's
Oh, you're not done. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the aerial view of the subject property. Looking west on Fishbowl Drive. It's not? Oh.
Lovely technical difficulties. Let's try it again. You're doing great, Vicky. Keep it up. Now we're back.
Here we go.
This is looking west.
Okay, this is looking west on Fishbowl Drive. This is the entrance of the subject property. This is the existing bed and breakfast on the subject property. This is another view of the site. This is the boundary survey and the proposed master plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now would the applicant please come forward?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is this clean? Sorry.
As far as we know.
Okay. Hi, I'm Cindy Zanke, Blue Moon Bed and Breakfast, 10137 East Fishbowl Drive.
Now's the
Oh,
time
well,
for you.
the,
No, now's the time for you to say why you're here and what you
Okay,
want
well,
and what you want us to know.
We've been in bed and breakfast for over 20 years, and we are looking just to open an open-air cafe, which I'm assuming falls under the hotel. You have to change from Coastal Lakes Commercial, I believe, the application said. And we're not actually looking to change the inn to a hotel because we're already a 5-bedroom inn. We're just looking to open an open-air cafe to the public. I enclosed pictures, Miranda, I think.
It's in their packet.
Okay, I enclosed pictures of an idea of the tables we're going to put under the portico to open up to the public. And basically, I put an idea in there. I was going to rent tables, but all that they had was giant wedding tables, and that's not the idea that I wanted to propose. So the pictures of the smaller tables under the portico is basically what we would like to do to supplement the income. Being the past 2 years, everybody's been hurt by this pandemic, and I think that opening a open-air cafe would be nice for the area and to kind of supplement the bed and breakfast itself. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. And apparently, I guess you had to go under hotels. I guess it's listed under hotel, but we are already established, so we're not looking to build a hotel or anything. We're just looking to open up the cafe. And that portico up there, it's going to be under there, I guess about 6 tables. And we'll probably do a reservation for people on the outside. And we have proposed parking on our site plan for a certain number of cars. So it's not going to be like a Crump's or something like that. It's going to be more of a smaller scale, kind of like the Highlander, I think. I think the Highlander used to have just sandwiches and coffee and, offer different little things like that, not like full dinners or anything like that. Basically, I'd say maybe a breakfast to a afternoon cafe, and that's basically what we're looking to do to help supplement the cost of running the inn. So if you had any other questions, I can answer them, I
Thank
guess.
you. Other questions from the board? Questions from staff?
Not really. You were heard by the board in January, and you've added the master plan, so thank you for that. Now, there were 5 conditions proposed by staff. Have you seen them, and did you have any concerns with any of those?
Did we get them? No. Can you run by them and?
I'll get you a copy.
That was my question.
Excuse me a second, I'm sorry. Nope, that all is fine, that all works. Yep, the five are fine, all good.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Sure thing. Okay, may we hear from staff?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, this application is to amend the future land use map, the land use atlas map, and to establish a plan unit development for a hotel with food service, specifically a cafe. As mentioned, this application was heard back in January, but it was only a land use zoning change at the time, and the applicant has since added a PUD. This property is approximately 2.6 acres in Homosassa, located on the north side of West Fishbowl Drive. The site operates as a bed and breakfast, and that was approved by conditional use back in 2002. Those conditions are also in your packet. The current site conditions include the B&B, a pool, and a boathouse. The site is improved, but it is partially wooded and has some wetlands. The current land use is CL. The applicant is requesting a CLC designation, a commercial designation. There are some commercial designations in the general area. The property is adjacent to a canal, Homosassa RV resort, manatee campground, and some vacant lots. The subject property is outside of the planned service area. This is looking west on West Fishbowl Drive, and that's a collector roadway. And this is looking across the street at the Homosassa RV resort. The B&B property has access from Fishbowl and has a gated entrance, and then alongside of the west property line they also have a fence. And further along that property line, adjacent to the canal, they have a boathouse. And this is the B&B structure. It's a 5-room service. The applicant's proposing 6 tables underneath the existing footprint. And the cafes are not allowed under the current land use, which is CL, but they are allowed under CLC. Also, the land development code for bed and breakfasts does not allow meals to be served to the public, so that's why this request is for a hotel, but it would functionally still operate as a bed and breakfast. And here's a side view of the structure. Here's the rear. And I just wanted to demonstrate, like I mentioned earlier, some of it is improved, but it also is heavily wooded. And here's another access way to the structure. Here's the pool area. This is the boundary survey. And here's the proposed master plan. Now, this project is exempt from small non-residential standards because they're staying within the existing footprint. There are a few changes here. The applicant is providing a type C buffer to the north and east property lines, and then a type A along Fishbowl Drive. There are some areas that do encroach into the wetland setbacks, but those are the current access drives and current impervious surface areas. The proposed areas, like the parking area, do not appear to encroach into those wetland setbacks. The CLC district limits the ISR to 50%, and the applicant's proposing 24%, so that's well within the requirements. Also, they're well within the FAR, and they meet parking requirements. This project, if approved, will be compatible with the surrounding area with the proposed conditions. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Questions from the board? Questions from the applicant? Thank you, Miranda.
Thanks.
This time I will open this hearing to the public for comments. Anyone opposed to this application, please come forward. Anyone opposed? Anyone that would like to speak in favor of this application, please come forward. Seeing no one, I will close the public portion of this hearing and return the discussion back to the board for further discussion and possible action.
I don't have a problem with this application. The PUD being placed over top of it restricts it to what it is. That was the problem that we had with the first time. So I'm in favor.
Yeah, I agree. Other comments from the board? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Worthington.
for the purpose of a motion, the Planning and Development Commission finds application number CPA/AA/21-02 consistent with the Citrus County Comprehensive Plan and the Citrus County Land Development Code, and that this board recommends approval with conditions of the application to the Board of County Commissioners based upon the evidence and testimony presented and the staff report inclusions regarding this petition.
I have a motion by Commissioner Worthington. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bass. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Time has arrived for a hearing on SV 21-03.
Yes. This application proposes to remove a platted alley lying in Citrus Springs. The alley is part of a network of alleys and roadways in Citrus Springs, and it connects to US 41. This is a view of the alley looking west towards US 41. This is a view of the alley looking east from US 41. This is looking north on US 41. The alley is on the right. This is looking across south on US 41 from the alley. The two adjacent lots have a commercial designation in the Citrus Springs master plan, while the rear lots have a single-family residential designation. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the applicant please come forward?
Good morning.
Morning, Brenda.
Happy December. For the record, I'm Brenda McKenzie, McKenzie Permitting and Consulting. My office is at 7232 East Gospel Island Road in Inverness, and I'm here today for SV 21-03. And we have been working on this for months and months with affordable storage. Michael Wilburn, the property owners, and myself. And we've gotten all the letters of no objections from the utility companies. We do have one concern from engineering that I will address in a moment. And we have an ownership and encumbrance report that needs to be modified, and I know that would be a condition. We've been communicating with Ms. Coutu on the wording. They own the lots on each side, but it needs to be specifically for the alleyway, but that's something we can have in the condition. The property owners now own both sides, and they have affordable storage, and they use that back and forth basically just for themselves. It's up on 41. It's on the east side of 41. It's a development that was developed back in the 70s, Deltona Corporation, and a lot of alleyways were platted and never utilized. The only one that really ever uses this is the property owners that have their storage units there now. And it doesn't block off anyone on the back road. It is doesn't affect the flow to the unimproved roads or properties behind it. And all the lots to the east are assessed through a paved road, Manville Road. And the only parcels that they're vacating that plat would remotely cut off are owned by the same property owner, and he's the one that's requesting it to be vacated. Their portable storage is at 100% capacity, which looks like storage units are doing really good in Citrus County. It seems like all of them are full, and they're wanting to be able to expand their existing building and business. And in order to do that, they need to have this alleyway vacated. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from staff?
Not at this time, thank you.
Questions from the board?
I have questions. You talked about the engineering. Engineering has recommended a denial, and so I need you to kind of get me past that, because I don't want to usurp what their recommendation is. So
Okay, I understand that looking at it, that why engineering would have that concern. But if you realistically look at it, I'm not good at this thing. I think I would be good by now. If we can go back, who goes back, Vicki or Susan? We could go back to the site. They're the only one that use it, and I actually have a definition of what an alleyway is. An alleyway is a narrow passageway between or behind buildings, and they own the property on both sides. And it's been there for decades. It's an older storage unit, and no one uses it, and it doesn't block off or make anyone behind them not be accessible. So I've actually gotten with local engineering. He's going to be at the Board of County Commissioner meeting, but couldn't be here today, and to help validate in the concern that engineering has, because for traffic flow, it hasn't been used for decades, other than the property owner that uses it to go back and forth. Can you go back to the dirt road? I can try. To this one, yeah. Well, that kind of shows it too, but the dirt road is basically the alleyway, and there is no third track. It looks like it's part of their complex, and that one, yes. No one uses it other than them. So I understand engineering looking at it, from a platted point of view, and an alleyway is supposed to be, it's not a road, it's an alleyway used for the adjacent properties, and no one's using it. No one's used it for decades, and it doesn't block anyone from access. And there's a paved road behind that anyone with the residential lots would use.
I mean, it looks like it's being used to me.
Yeah,
If it hasn't been used for years, it would be grown over with grass and.
Yes, sir, but what I'm saying, the affordable storage owns over here where the fenced-in area is at, and it's grass, and they own over where the fenced-in area and the buildings are at. They're the only ones that go back and
So
forth.
who owns this alleyway? Is this like dedicated to the county? Dedicated to the county piece of property? Is it an easement?
Easement or right of way?
Is it an
It's
easement?
an alley. It's platted as an alley. The
So it
definition's
means that
alley.
it's just part of the public property that was
Yes.
part of the Citrus Springs plat.
That's right. Yep. That was
So-
platted in the 70s.
And
Yes,
this
sir.
gentleman wants to vacate this easement and then take over the easement and then increase his property size with it.
Correct. Be able to
Okay.
extend his business.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions?
Is that an easement,
Commissioner
or
Stone?
does the county own that right of way?
Perhaps county council can address that.
It's part of a plat, and it's part of the dedication to the public. So the public has a right to traverse it. The county doesn't own it, but the county controls it, which is the same as most dedicated rights of way that are found on plats. So we don't have a fee simple deed to it, which we don't have fee simple deeds to many of the roadways, but it is dedicated to the county, dedicated to the public, and the county holds it in trust for the public's access.
So no one pays taxes on it?
The
I'm pretty
property
sure we all do.
appraiser generally does not have any of the rights of way on the tax roll. So there are no taxes paid on most public rights of way. And I say most because there's always exceptions, but that's generally the way public rights of way are shown in the property appraiser's records.
If this vacation was successful, the owner of the properties would enjoin it with his current properties and he'd pay taxes on it?
When you vacate rights of way, the property owners to the center line of the right of way it becomes theirs. So because this owner owns both sides of the road, he or it will own the entire thing.
And pay property taxes on it. Yes, sir. The legal description will now describe it as being a legal description for them to have a deed and to own it. They said they haven't seen anyone use that in 40 years. The only people that go back and forth there is their own employees or someone trying to get to one of their trucks or something.
Okay. Other questions?
I'll just give Ms. McKenzie the opportunity. Like, I'm not in favor of this application, and I'll tell you why. The engineering division being recommending in denial, I can't get past that. And the fact that nobody uses it right now, I understand that. I kind of disagree just because I can see that it's been traveled. I don't know by who. It almost reminds me of like they platted this PDR and this development with the intentions. They knew that these properties fronting along 41 there were going to be commercial properties, and it kind of acts like a service road to me, where we have this problem with cross access. So instead of having all of the access and points along 41, which is a single lane busy road right now, and we all know that Citrus County is growing, so those properties along that area right there, they're going to infill with some more commercial development. And I feel like the developer intended that area to be like some rear access just to help alleviate traffic along the 41, so that's why I'm not in favor.
All right, so the cross-access behind it, which I understand your point, thank you, Mr. Bramlett, is residential. So it wouldn't be cross-access from commercial to commercial. The lots back behind there are residential for single-family homes. But I understand. Thank you, Mr. Bramlett.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Brenda.
You're welcome.
Joanna?
All right, this is an application for a street vacation. This is a platted street. Although called an alley, it is a street on the plat. It is not an easement. It is dedicated to the public, as Ms. Lynn stated. And the property owner does own on either side. Talking about what you said before, okay, this is Citrus Springs and this is the planned unit development. You can see in here, and engineering has referenced it. I do have Cindy Jones from engineering here who's willing to answer questions. She's been very helpful with this application. There are two access points, two alleys that go back to the rear, one right here and one right here on this long stretch of commercial property. That outline in orange is commercial. This one down here on the south is not developed. It's not there. You can't see it. It's on paper. So this is the only connection point to that. I do agree with Mr. Bramlett. I think the intention of Citrus Springs was to have this as an alley to serve commercial, and it does serve the commercial properties to the rear to provide access, trash pickup, etc. This is the alleyway. Looking from 41, it does have some breakdown there. You can see to the right the applicant is using this for access to this unpermitted storage yard there on the right. On the left side is the existing storage yard that she's talked about. I do disagree with the applicant, and you can see in the pictures, I think this has been used by certainly more than them in the last 40 years. This is also an unpermitted access by the storage. We did not know they were accessing the alley on this side. And this is looking again at the alley, and they have some barbed wire fencing here, also not allowed in this particular area, but the storage yard again is not permitted at this time. And this is the rear alley that alley leads to. That's why I'm questioning the 40-year thing. It does look like it is used regularly up and down. To the right is residential property. To the left is commercial, and this runs behind those commercial business sites, some of which are developed and some are not. And again, this is the aerial. So what I'll point out to you in the comprehensive plan, policy 10B43, this is not your usual vacate. Usually I come here and these are lovely, sweet things. In this particular case, we're looking at the vacation of rights-of-way, alleys, roads, or access easements shall only be allowed when principal or secondary access to a parcel of land is not diminished, the location of an existing or future utility is not adversely affected, or the roadway does not serve a public purpose, nor has the potential of being integrated into the transportation system. I think that policy is very clear with what engineering's pointed out, that this really does integrate into the transportation system in this area at this time. That is why it is being recommended for denial. And I have Ms. Jones here again to answer any questions on that. Regardless of the outcome of your recommendation today, staff is planning on holding this before it goes to County Commission. We do not have a correct ownership and encumbrance report. They gave us one for the surrounding lots and not for the alley, and I still need a letter from the electric provider. So there's a few boxes that are not checked before this can move on. but you have the staff report.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Questions from the applicant?
And did you want to have any questions for Ms. Jones? I appreciate that she's here, but she's my
Would,
engineering
would
expert and
the
definitely not
engineering
me.
department like to say a few
Do you have
words?
anything to add? You don't have to. It's up to you. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Any questions for her?
I'll take that as a no.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I will open this hearing to the public for comments. Anyone who is opposed to this application, please come forward. Anyone opposed? Anyone in favor of this application, please come forward. Seeing no one, I will close the public portion of this hearing and return the discussion back to the board for further discussion and possible action.
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to support the engineering department in their recommendation and deny this application.
Other comments? I personally think it's a reasonable request. The residential area in the back is undeveloped, and there are other ways to access that. I understand the engineering department's position, but we frequently approve items that are not exactly in line with the letter of the county LDC.
So hang on, let me talk about what your comment you just made. This alleyway is not meant to be access to that residential area. That residential area has access from the road
Correct.
up that she showed on that last map in Manville. Those properties were never meant to be accessed by this alley. This alleyway is meant to be like a service road for those commercial properties along 41, which is a busy 2-lane road. So I think I don't think that it's, if you're thinking of it as an access and they still have access for the residential, I think that's the incorrect process. Like the developers never intended this alleyway for these people to drive out of their backyards and on and into 41. I think.
But if the applicant owns both properties, it doesn't service anyone but the applicant.
Well, there's this entire strip of commercial property that it would service, and it would act as a service road, is my opinion. And then, so some of these other easements that we've done have just been like drainage easements and stuff, right? I don't know that I'm in favor of giving public land to a private entity for capitalization.
I hear your point. Further discussion,
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Bass.
I have to agree with Mr. Stone. I don't think we should go against what engineering has stated. I think that Mr. Bramlett also brings up a very good point that this alleyway is for the use of the commercial businesses so that we can avoid trash being picked up out on the main road. I would not be in favor of this application.
Other comments, questions?
Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Worthington.
I also, in this instance, I just agree with the point of the traffic flow, that if we vacated this alleyway, then we would be sending everyone down onto this other road to access the alleyway behind all of the businesses. So I agree with Mr. Bramlett that was put there to kind of ease some of this turning off of 41, and I don't think we should vacate it, but not for his reasons about the capitalization of giving whatever he said.
Mr. Chair, for the purpose of a motion,
Commissioner Bramlett.
the Planning and Development finds application number SV-21-03 inconsistent with the Citrus County Comprehensive Plan and the Citrus County Land Development Code, and that this board recommends denial of the application to the Board of County Commissioners based upon the evidence and testimony presented and the staff report and conclusions regarding this petition.
I have a motion by Commissioner Bramlett. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Bass. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? One no. Motion is denied. Thank you. Any other business? Next meeting is, December the 16th.
16th, we have 2 applications on that agenda, or, I'm sorry, 4. Not so bad, I was thinking, but 4 applications. 2 of them are PUDs. January, we have the 2 meetings. One has 2 and one has 4. So development has not stopped, but one more before we go to holiday, okay?
Comments from the board, questions from the board? Thank you all. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Bye.
We stand adjourned.